Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. Begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuron Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahim Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padagamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shannavadi Paschatya Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasati
Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. So very successfully we have completed the 4th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and today we'll be beginning the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So the 4th canto ended with the discussion of this Vidura expressing his gratitude to Maitreya after hearing the whole story of Prachetas and how they perfected their life. They begot Daksha in the womb of Marisha, and then they got instructions from Narad Muni, and then they went back home, back to Godhead. Vidura, after hearing all that, he became very grateful, and he left, expressed his gratitude to Maitreya Muni, and then he left for Hastinapur. And that was the end of the 4th canto. So in this 5th canto, which is called Sthanam, so there are 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Atra sarga visargascha sthanam poshanam utayaha manvantare sanukatha nirodho muktirashrayah dashamasya vishuddhartam namanamiha lakshanam varnayanti mahatmanam shrutena arthena cha anjasa. So 2nd canto we discussed there are 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam or any Mahapuran. Sarga, that is primary creation. Visarga, that means secondary creation. So we discussed the primary creation, that is creation which is done by Mahavishnu. In great detail we discussed in the 2nd canto and in the 3rd canto also. Visarga, that means the creation which was done by Brahmaji. We discussed in the 3rd canto also and the 4th canto also. And then Sarga, Visarga, and then Sthanam. After living entities are created, they need a place to stay. And that place is described in the 5th canto. So in the 5th canto, there are so very different things are described. Different pastimes would come and different personalities will be described. We'll discuss the story of Priyavrat Maharaj, Agnidra, Nabhi, Rishabdev, Bharat Maharaj, and the major part of this is the structure of the universe. So the 3 chapters, they tell the story of Priyavrat Maharaj, Agnidra, and Nabhi. So Agnidra was the son of Priyavrat and Nabhi was the son of Agnidra. Then after that, 3 chapters describe the story of Rishabdev. Rishabdev was one of the sons of Nabhi. He was the supreme personality of Godhead himself. After that, Rishabdev had 100 sons. Of those 100, the eldest was Bharat Maharaj, on whom this Bharat Varsha got its name. This Bharat Varsha. Earlier it was called as Ajnabha Varsha. 8 chapters describe the story of Bharat Maharaj, how he became a deer, and then again Jad Bharat, and then how he became liberated. Then after that, 1 chapter describes the story of King Gaya, and then the 4 chapters, they describe about Jambu Dvipa, the various mountains, the trees, And then after that, there is a description of the zodiac, all these 28 zodiacs. And then there is a chapter describing the Dhruva Loka. After that, there is a description of hellish planets. So all these things will be discussing in the canto. So this is the dynasty of the Swayambhuva Manu. So Swayambhuva Manu had three sons, three daughters and two sons. Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa had three daughters, Devahuti, Akuti, and Prasuti. We discussed the story of Devahuti in the third canto. Then the fourth canto described the story of Akuti, and then Prasuti. Prasuti, she gave birth to Daksha, and then whole Daksha Yagya was described. And then after that, Swayambhuva Manu had his two sons, Uttanapad and Priyavrata. So the story of Uttanapad was described in the fourth canto, starting from the son of Uttanapad, that is Dhruva. One of the descendants of Dhruva was Anga Maharaj. Then Anga Maharaj's son was described, Veena. Then Prithu Maharaj came from the churning of this Anga Maharaj's, Veena's body. One of the descendants of this Prithu Maharaj was the king Prachina Barhi. Then the sons of Prachina Barhi were 10 Prachetas. So the whole fourth canto described the story of the first son of, actually second son, that is second son of Swayambhuva Manu, that was Uttanapad. Why second son story is described? Because Priyavrat Maharaj, he was naturally detached. So he did not take to the kingdom. He went to the forest to do tapasya. So in this canto, now Maitreya Muni would ask Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami, they would have a discussion about Priyavrat Maharaj, the first son of Swayambhuva Manu. So after this whole story of Uttanapad was over, in the fourth canto, Shukdev Goswami now describes the story of Maharaj Priyavrata. So Priyavrata, Shukdev Goswami told Parikshit Maharaj in the fourth canto last, in the 31st chapter, 26th and 27th verses, that Priyavrat Maharaj, he was first renounced, and then again he accepted material enjoyment. So then Parikshit Maharaj, when he heard this, he became a little intrigued. How is this possible? He was surprised. So he inquired from Shukdev Goswami, Priyavrato Bhagavata Atma Rama Katham Mune Grihe Aramata Yanmula Karma Bandha Parabhava. He says, Oh Shukdev Goswami, please tell me, how could Priyavrata? Priyavrata was a Bhagavata. He was such a great devotee of Lord. He was Atma Rama. He was self-satisfied. Atma Rama means he was such a great devotee. Atma Ramascha Munayo Nirgrantha Api Urukrame Kurvanti Ahetuki Bhaktim Itham Bhuta Guno Hari. It is described that those who are Atma Rama, those who are self-satisfied, they have nothing to do with this world. Nirgrantha. Nirgrantha means they have no attachments for things of this world. And they are completely attached to the topics of Urukrama. So, Priyavrat Maharaj, he was already a Mahabhagavata. He was attached to Krishna consciousness. Katham, how is it that Grihe Aramata Yanmulaha? Grihe, again, he started engaging in household life. And what is this household life? Karma Bandha and Parabhava. There are two qualifications, two characteristics of a household life. Yan Mula, household life is the Mula, is the root of Karma Bandhana. It is the root cause of the bondage of karma. By default, by entering a household life, there are all the chances that one will be entangled in this Karma Bandhana. And the result of this is Parabhava. Parabhava means one is defeated in the mission of human life. Therefore, Rishabdev also has said, Parabhavas tavad abodh jato यावन्न जिज्ञासत आत्मतत्त्वं यावत् क्रिया तावत् इदं मनो वै कर्मात्मकं येन शरीर बंधः. So when a living entity gets a human body, or a human body gets so much engrossed in the sense enjoyment, parabhava, he gets defeated. Abodha, because he is unintelligent ignorance. Yavanna jigyasat atma tattvam, he cannot inquire about the purpose of life. Who am I? Why I am suffering in this world? One may argue, why is it wrong to enjoy household life? Prabhupada writes that actually the reply is in household life one becomes bound by the fruitive activities, the results of those fruitive activities. The essence of household life is sense enjoyment, and as long as one engrosses his mind in enjoying the senses, he will be bound by the reactions of the material activities. So therefore entering a household life is not a problem. But if we are focusing our whole life energy, if our mind is so very engaged in sense gratification, then the result will be karma bandha mula. It will be a root cause of bondage, and it will give us defeat, parabhava. As Prahlad Maharaj says, hitvatma patam grihamanda kupam vanam gatoyat harima shrayeta. Prahlad Maharaj told Hiranyakashipu, "Oh my father, just give up your family life. You are falling in the deep, dark well of material existence. Hitva atma patam. You yourself have done it. Grihamanda kupam." So therefore, Parikshit Maharaj is asking, how is it that Priyavrat, who was a self-realized great devotee of the Lord, how can he enter household life? And then he justifies his question. He says, devotees like him, Priyavrat was such a great devotee, they are Mukta Sangha. Mukta Sangha means they are free from material attachments. They have no material attachments. How can they be engaged in family affairs? It is not possible, because attachment to family and devotional service, they are incompatible. As Prabhupada would say, sense gratification and Krishna consciousness goes ill together. Then he says, Parikshit Maharaj says, actually, whoever has got the shade of the lotus feet of the Lord, he destroys his samsara. His material life gets finished. Mahatam khalu viprashe uttama shloka padayo chaya nirvritta chittanam na kutumbe sprihamati. He says that Mahatam, the elevated sadhus, Mahatmas, who have taken shelter of Uttama Shloka Padayo, who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Uttama Shloka, what happens to them? Nirvritta Chittanam. They are fully satiated from any material desire. They are just satisfied by the chaya. They are satisfied by the chaya of the lotus feet of the Lord. They are in the shade of the lotus feet of the Lord. Na kutumbe sprihamati, they do not desire material household life. Then how is it that Priyavrat got entangled? Prabhupada quotes this bhajan by Narottam Das Thakur. He says, Nitaye pad kamala koti chandra shushitala ye chayaya jagata judai. Whoever gets the shade of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, he becomes free from all the material attachments. Just like it is described about Raghunath Das Goswami. He was a son of a billionaire. He was the only heir of the whole property. But because he was attached to the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya, he would run every day. Mother and father, they became so very disturbed. Putra batul hoilai hai rakha bandhiya, tar pita kahe tahe nirvinna huiya. Mother is telling to father that your son has become mad. Just tie him up with ropes. Father was already disturbed. He said, इंद्र समईश्वरे स्त्री अप्सरासम ये सब बांधिते नारी लेको यार मन. He says, "Arey, what is the use of these material robes? He has the wealth of Indra, and he has a wife as beautiful as Apsara. If all these things could not bind him, how can a robe bind him?" He has got mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Uh, his father says that this person, this son of ours, he has become madman. Putra, he has become mad. Batul. Who can keep this madman of Lord Chaitanya? Chaitanya Chandrera Kripa Hayyache Ihare. Chaitanya Chandrera Batul Keraki Te Pare. Who can keep this madman of Lord Chaitanya? कृष्ण पाद पद्म गंध जय जन पाए ब्रह्म लोक आदि सुख तारे नहीं भाई. Then Prabhu is telling about Raghunath Das Goswami. Whoever gets the fragrance of the lotus feet of Krishna, he cannot be bound by any attraction of this world. So therefore, Parikshit Maharaj is having this doubt. How can Priyavrat, who was such a great devotee of the Lord, how can he get attracted to family life? First question, that was this first question. Secondly, he asks, how was it possible for him to achieve infallible perfection in Krishna consciousness despite being attached to wife, home, and children? First question is, how did he get entangled? And second question is, even after getting entangled, how did he get perfection? ये दोनों possible नहीं है. Privrat Maharaj to get entry into household life, it is not possible. And for a householder to achieve perfection was so very engrossed. It is also a very difficult thing. How is it possible? Sukadeva Goswami, he replies. And in the reply, he describes the glories of devotional service. So he says that actually, Shukdev Goswami says, actually it is not possible for Atmaram to become attached to household life. But you should not think that the devotees of inconceivable character can ever become attached to material things. Obstructions, all these obstacles in the form of material life, they can never become the obstruction in the path of a great devotee. So therefore, he says that, there are two types of obstacles. Chakravarti Thakur writes in the purport, very nice purport. He says, a devotee of the Lord, although they may fall down, they will not fall down like material mundane people. Tathanate madhavatavaka kvachit prashyanti marga tvai baddha saurida tvayabhigupta vicharena nirbhaya vinaikani kapamurdha suprabho. So this verse comes in the 10th canto. It is described that devotees of the Lord, they may also fall down, but they do not fall down like materialists. Brashyanti marga, they may also fall down, but they do not fall down like materialists, because Krishna personally takes care of his devotees. They will very soon become situated in their path of devotional service. So therefore, the devotees do not have any obstacle arising from the time and karma. However, there are two types of obstacles for a devotee. First type of obstacle is that obstacle which is caused by a great offense. So this great offense may be pacified over a period of time by doing some penance. And the example Chakravarti Thakur gives is of Dvirida. Dvirida, he was a associate of Lord Ram, but because he committed some mistake, he fell down, but again he, came back. And then after that, because he was personally, killed by Balram, and then he was purified. And secondly, he says, if somebody offends a devotee, by the mercy of the Vaishnava, one can very easily get rectified. And he gives the example of Rahugana. Rahugana, he offended Jada Bharat. But Jada Bharat was merciful enough to forgive Rahugana. Secondly, he says, devotees, they undergo obstacles because it is the desire of the Lord. So Lord also desires sometimes, somebody may say, "Arey baap re, apna problem hi bahut hai." If Lord starts desiring, what will happen to us? So we should know Lord gives troubles, puts obstacles only in the life of those who can cross those obstacles. Lord never tests a devotee beyond a capacity, his capacity. So Lord's desire means when Lord wants to teach proper conduct, how to deal in a particular situation. So he puts obstacles in the life of his devotees. And this ends up in increasing the prema of that devotee. And the example is given of Bharat Maharaj. So Bharat Maharaj, he had to go through 3 lifetimes. Third birth, he was liberated. But the purpose was to show the devotees how we should be very, very careful in dealing with the material world, how association of devotees are very, very important. And of course, Bharat Maharaj, by the story of Bharat Maharaj, Krishna wanted to teach all of us how to behave and how not to get attached. And secondly, he gives the example of Priyavrat Maharaj. So Priyavrat Maharaj, seemingly, he was put into this obstacle of the household life. But Krishna wants to tell how one should be obedient to the superiors. And then, secondly, Lord desires, all these things so that, as we discussed, that Lord wants to increase the prema in the devotee's heart. So therefore, Parikshit Maharaj is asking all that. He's asking that Parikshit Maharaj, he sought the lotus feet of Narad Muni and attained, perfection. He was engaging in Krishna Katha. So then, how is it that he again entered family life? So now Shukdev Goswami speaks that uh, when Priyavrat Maharaj, he was doing tapasya, he was learning all this spiritual wisdom from Narad Muni. His father, Swayambhu Manu, he asked him to take charge of ruling the world. And although such a order could not be refused, because to refuse the order of the superior is not so easy. Priyavrat was not happy with this, but still he engaged in that. Although he considered that, okay, this will make me distracted from the family, from the devotional service. Prabhupada writes that Priyavrat's father, Swayambhu Manu, he requested to accept the responsibility of ruling the world. But Priyavrat Maharaj did not welcome that suggestion. That is a symptom of a great liberated devotee. A liberated devotee never ever likes to engage in any material activities. So then Prabhupada explains that how Krishna also engages in household activities, but he does not get entangled in those activities. He is transcendental. In the first canto, we discussed that when Krishna was entering the Dwarka, all the queens of Krishna, they were coming and they were trying to attract Krishna by their loving glances and smiles. But Krishna was not attracted to them. Uddama bhava pishunama lavalguhasa vridavalok nihato madanopi yasam sammuhya chapamajahat pramadottamaasta yasyendriya vimatitum kuhakaina sheku. These ladies, these queens of Krishna, they were showing all their feminine beauty. But Krishna was not getting attracted to all this. Krishna was attracted by their loving devotion. Next verse says, Etadishanam ishasya prakritisthopi tadgunaihi na yujyate sadatmaster yatha buddhi tadashraya. So this verse is described that Krishna is not attracted by all these material modes. Although Krishna engages in all these material activities, he is not bound by those. Similarly, the devotees of the Lord, although they are engaging in material activities, they are never bound. So, Chakravarti Thakur writes an explanation what is happening. So, we'll go back. Fourth canto, in the beginning, we saw Uttanpad. His descendant was Dhruva, and then his son was Then in the line became Prithu Maharaj, then Prachina Barhi, and then Prachetas. Okay. And then from Prachetas, Daksha took birth. So now, all this time, this Priyavrat Maharaj, what was he doing? Priyavrat Maharaj was doing tapasya because he was detached. So now after Daksha took birth, Daksha, he went to do tapasya. Because the purpose of Daksha is the service is to procreate. To do tapasya, to perform this act of procreation requires lots of pious credits. Daksha, he went to do tapasya. Now, there was no king. Swayambhu Manu now started thinking, what to do now? There is no king to rule. Swayambhu Manu then went back and he started, pleading with Priyavrata. Please come back and rule this world. So Priyavrata, he came back, and then we'll discuss what happened. Priyavrata came back, he married, and then his sons, they became the Manus in the third, fourth, and sixth Manvantara. So the sons of Priyavrata Maharaj was Uttama, Tamasa, and Raivata. They became the Prajapatis for third, fourth, and fifth Manvantara. And then at the beginning of sixth Manvantara, Daksha, he completed his austerities. He again came back and he became the king. So for such a huge duration, for 4 Manvantaras, Daksha was doing tapasya. So that was the period of duration in which the descendants of Priyavrat Maharaj was ruling. So now Swayambhu Manu, he goes back and he was pleading he was requesting Priyavrata that please you come and you take charge of the family and all this, worldly responsibilities. You become the king. Priyavrata was not listening. Now, seeing this situation, Lord Brahma personally comes. Lord Brahma arrives at that place. And then it is described, Brahma, he is always acting for the welfare of people in general. So when he came, he was surrounded by all the great personalities of the creation, and personified Vedas also came, and he was being praised by all the great personalities, the Devatas, the sages, everybody was glorifying Brahmaji. So when Brahma came on his swan carrier, Narada was there, Priyavrat Maharaj was there, and Swayambhu Manu was there. All of them, they got up immediately because Brahma is a supreme first being, first created being. They all began to worship Brahmaji with great respect. They offered prayers and they glorified Brahma. Brahmaji, he was smiling and looking at Priyavrat Maharaj with compassion. So Chakravarti Thakur writes why he was looking with compassion, why he was smiling. Very interesting. So Brahma, he was feeling compassion. He was thinking, oh my God, I have come to interrupt the bhakti, Gyan and Vairagya of Priyavrat Maharaj. But by my mercy, even in the household life, his bhakti will increase. That is the compassion of Brahmaji. And why was he smiling? He was thinking that, my grandson, because, Priyavrat was a grandson. So Brahmaji is thinking, my grandson, he is so very stubborn that he is refuting to accept the kingdom. I will make you rule the kingdom. He's thinking. So Brahmaji is thinking, you are so stubborn that you will not take the kingdom, and my stubbornness is I will make you rule the kingdom. I will see whose stubbornness will prevail. That was a joking competition going on between the grandfather and the grandson. So that's why Brahmaji is smiling. So now Brahmaji, he comes and he reasons why Priyavrat should accept the kingdom. He says, nobody can defy the order of the Lord. Lord's order is unrefutable. It is undeniable by anyone. Of the 12 great personalities, 4 great Mahajanas were present. Brahma was there. Along with Brahma, Lord Shiva also came. Then Narad Muni was there. Swayambhuva Manu was there. So to convince Priyavrat, Brahmaji came with Shiva and Swayambhuva. Just imagine how strong personality Priyavrat Maharaj was. So very absorbed in devotional service. So therefore, Brahma is saying Lord's order is undeniable. Nobody can deny the order of the Lord. He says, don't be jealous of the Lord. Don't think that Lord has put you in this situation because he wants to, put you in the material life. No, please do not find fault with the Lord. Because Lord is always merciful to everyone. Actually, he says, if Lord puts somebody into this material existence, he quickly delivers them from this material existence. But if somebody does not follow the instructions of the Lord, even if he renounces the whole world, goes to the forest, he will not be bewildered. He will not be liberated. So therefore, nobody knows the activities of the Lord. So don't be jealous of the Lord, just follow the orders of the Lord. And then he says, actually, the Lord's order is unavoidable. Na tasya kaschit tapasa vidyayava, na yoga viryenan manishayava, na evartha dharmai paratasvatova, kritam vihantum tanubhrit vibhuyat. He says, not by the power of austerities, nor by education, nor by mystic yoga, nor by prowess, nor by manishaya, intelligence, nor by wealth, religion, by himself, or with the help of others. Kritam vihantum tanubhrit vibhuyat. Nobody can avoid the orders of the Lord. Supreme Lord is all powerful. Madbhayad vati vatoyam suryas tapti madbhayat varshati indro dhatyagni mrityuscharati madbhayat. Kapaladev is telling to Mother Devahuti, out of my fear, wind is blowing. Out of my fear, sun is rising. Out of my fear, Indra is showering rains. Out of my fear, even death, Lord of death is walking. So nobody can avoid the orders of the Lord. So therefore, Chakravarti Thakur writes that one should not show one's strength of austerity, knowledge, and yoga in order to protect one's stubbornness. So therefore, he says, just follow the instructions of the Lord. He says that just as the Lord makes me take up the kingdom through you, he makes me renounce through Narada. So Priyavrat Maharaj is thinking, which do I decide? So Priyavrat Maharaj is thinking, okay, just like through Narada, he is telling me to renounce the world, and through you, O Brahma, he is telling me to take to this kingdom. How should I decide this? So, Brahmaji says, don't be bewildered by all these things. Both of these are the orders of the Lord. Either you are in the family, either you are in the kingdom, or you are in the forest. You will practice detachment. You will not be attached. You will attain the supreme perfection. And therefore, he says, actually, it is the order of the Lord to the jivas to accept the bodies. The Lord has given the order to the jivas to accept the bodies so that they can perform their actions, and then he says that actually Lord has made this varnashram. This varnashram system is a very, very scientific system made by Lord, so that one can perform the activities in this world and then get liberated also. He says everybody in this world has to follow the varnashram, just like a bull is obliged to move around that pole because it is being knotted in its nose by a rope. Everybody in this world has to follow the instructions of the Lord. And Prabhupada in the purport glorifies and emphasizes the importance of varnashram system. So therefore, Brahmaji is saying, please accept with faith the Lord, whatever Lord gives us. It is the desire of the Lord. So please accept whatever is given to us by the Lord. And Prabhupada says that a devotee of the Lord, he is only concerned with only one thing. How can I serve the Lord? Maro bhi rakho bhi jo ichha tohar, Krishna dase prati tu adhikar. But Priyavrat Maharaj, he may say, okay, this applies to the action of an ignorant person, not to a jnani who knows the Atma. Brahma says, even one is liberated, he accepts the body he has received according to the past actions. Everybody has to accept the body according to the past actions. Priyavrat Maharaj may say, but household life is very, very harmful. I will be entangled in the household life. Brahmaji says, devotee is never affected. Devotees, they are self-controlled. They are never affected by household life. Bhayam pramattasya vaneshvapi syat yata sa aste sa shat sapatnaha jitendriya syat marater buddhasya grihashrama krim nu karotyavadyam. He says, even if somebody goes to the forest, vaneshu api asyat, even if somebody goes to the forest, one who is not self-controlled, one who is pramattasya, for him there is always a bhaya, always a fear of material bondage. Why? Because we have heard this many times. Even if somebody goes to a forest, his mind is not controlled, he is carrying his 6 wives with him. This is the verse. He says, Yata sa aste saha shat sapatnaha. Because even if somebody is going to the forest, he is not self-controlled, he is going with 6 wives. Who are these 6 wives? Mind and 5 senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses. But Jitendriya Syatma Rater Buddhasya, a self-satisfied, controlled man who has conquered his senses, for him, Grihashrama, even a household life cannot harm him. So therefore, Brahmaji is saying that you do not have to be fearful about family life. You are a pure devotee of the Lord. You will not get bound by the family attachments. Vrihe thako, vane thako, sada hari bole thako. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Narottam Das Thakur says, either you stay in the family life or in the forest does not make a difference. Because wherever you are, you have to chant the names of Lord. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, Grihete Goloka Bhai. When I come home, when I see my whole family engaged in devotional service, I consider my family, I consider my home to be a Goloka. So therefore, if we are engaging our words, body and the mind in service of the Lord, then we are liberated even in this life. Ihayasya harer dasye karmana manasagira nikhilashvape avasthasu jivan mukta sauchyate. So therefore he says, Brahmaji is saying, one who is in household life and he conquers his 6 senses, then he is in a very, very safe position. He is like a king who is in a fort, who is not conquered by the enemies. So therefore, for a person who is a great devotee of the Lord, there is no danger for him. And Prabhupada writes that there are 3 types of people in this world. Those without self-control, those with sense control, and those who desire sense control. He says, those who are with sense control and those who are without sense control, both of them, if they enter household life, it is good for them. Because those who are without sense control, they'll become regulated, and those who are with sense control, they will get a very nice environment to practice Krishna consciousness. And in fact, the 3rd category, those who desire sense control, they should also enter family life because they desire to conquer senses. And household life gives a very nice environment in which they can control their senses. So therefore, Brahmaji says, please seek shelter of that Supreme Lord. And in this way, you will conquer all the senses. So therefore, Chakravarti Thakur writes that actually, Brahmaji is telling to Priyavrat Maharaj, you are not in any of these three categories. What are the three categories? Those who are without sense control, those who are with sense control, and those who desire sense control. He says, you are not in any of them. You are a liberated soul. Therefore, you don't have to be so much disturbed. You don't have to be in anxiety. You have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. For you, this material existence will not have any effect. You are not like all other things, all other people. You have already controlled your senses. For you, this whole material existence is like a water in the footprint of a calf. Samashitaye padapallavaplavam mahatpadam punyesho murare bhavambudirvatsa padam param padam 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 yat vipadam natesham. So whoever takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, for them, this whole material existence shrinks down to a water which is there in the footprint of a calf. It is very easy to cross. So therefore, sorry, Prabhupada quotes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in the South India Yatra, he meets a Kurma Brahmana, and he gives this instruction to Kurma Brahmana. Kabuna badi betomar vishayat tarang punarapi eithani pabe morasang. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told this Kurma Brahman, you stay in the family life. स्थिर हैया घरे आओ नाहो बातुल क्रमे क्रमे पाए लोक भव सिंधुकुल. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told to Raghunath Das Goswami also, and he told to Kurum Brahman also. He told to Kurum Brahman, Kabuna badhive tomar vishaya tranga. You will not be entangled in all these material waves. Punarapi aithani pape morasanga. You stay in the family life, you keep glorifying Krishna, you will surely come to meet Supreme Lord very soon. Mahaprabhu told to Raghunath Das Goswami also, don't be impatient, just stay at home. In due course of time, everything will be revealed to you. Krame krame पाए लोक भव सिंधुकुल. How it will happen? Somebody may say, okay, आप तो इतना बोल रहे हैं, how it will happen? I am entangled in family life. How will I develop attraction for the Supreme Lord? How will I get liberated, be free from the bondage? Sthir haiya ghare aao. Stay at home. Practice the principles of religion. Practice devotional service with intense attachment. Then, sei chale se kale Krishna spurabe tomare Krishna kripaye jare tare kirakhi te pare. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami may be thinking, अरे आप बोल रहे हैं घर में रहो, क्रमे क्रमे जब समय आएगा, slowly you will get liberated. How it will happen? Mahaprabhu says, say chale. What trick you have to apply? Krishna will reveal from the heart. Krishna spurabe tomare. Krishna kripaye jare tare ke rakhite pare. Whoever gets mercy of Krishna, nobody can keep him. So therefore, after hearing all this discussion from Brahma, such strong philosophy, strong words, Priyavrat Maharaj accepted Brahma's request. He consented, he lowered his head, bowing down in front of the Brahmaji, and he respectfully carried out the order of Brahma. So, Brahmaji, then he was worshipped by all these great personalities, Swayambhuva Manu, Priyavrat Maharaj, and Narad. Everybody was there standing. And then Brahma left for his abode. All of them, they had no resentment. It was not that Priyavrat Maharaj was thinking, oh, ye Brahma ji ne sab gadbad kar diya. He was not having any resentment. He accepted it as a will of the Lord. And then after Priyavrat Maharaj accepted this, Manu, he became very satisfied, very relieved, because he was in great anxiety. Who will take care of this kingdom? Who will take care of the kingly post? So then Swayambhuva Manu became very happy. Narad Muni and Swayambhuva Manu, it is described, he was as relieved as he was relieved from the poisonous material ocean of material affairs. Poisonous ocean of material affairs. He was feeling such a relief. Prabhupada writes, Manu, he was such a great king. He was the king of the whole Bhumandala. But still, when he could give his whole kingdom to his son, he was relieved. In contrast to this, current politicians, they try their level best till the last moment of their life to engage in this material worldly affairs. They don't realize what they are doing is they are drinking poison. Samsara vishanale divanishi hiya jwale judaite na koi nu upay. He quotes, Prabhupada quotes this bhajan by Narottam Das Thakur. He says, I am so very absorbed in this material life, it is burning my heart, and I'm not getting any way to come out of this. Golokera Premadan Harinama Sankirtan Ratina Janmila Kinetai. This is such an unfortunate thing. Living entities in this world, after getting this human form, they are not getting any attraction for this Krishna Katha. As Kaviraj Goswami says, Paya Manushya Janma Jena Shune Gauragun Hena Janma Tara Virtha Hoila. Paya Amrit Dhuni Piye Vishyagartha Pani Janmi Ase Kene Nahi Maila. He says, Arey, you have got a human form of life. Manushya Janma. Why are you not hearing Gaur Katha? Your life is waste. If you are not hearing Gaur Katha, if you are not hearing about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, your life is waste. It is as if somebody gets a river of nectar and he gives up that to drink poison. You know, this is the only nectar, this is the only medicine which can take us, which can cure this fever of material existence. So therefore, Parikshit Maharaj, Priyavrat Maharaj, he accepts family life. Now Shukdev Goswami, he answers the first question of Parikshit Maharaj. How did Priyavrat enjoy his family life? He says that Priyavrat Maharaj, he very nicely was engaged in all the worldly affairs, taking care of the kingdom and maintaining this whole Bhumandala. All the while, he was always engaged in thinking about the lotus feet of the Lord. This lotus feet of the Lord, they are the only cause of liberation. Although Priyavrat Maharaj was completely free from material contamination, but he ruled this material world just to honor the orders of the superiors. That was the only purpose. He was not attracted to anything material. Priyavrat Maharaj ruled this kingdom for only to fulfill and please the superiors. Therefore, Prabhupada writes, a devotee who is always engaged in Krishna's service is not fearful of anything. Narayan para sarve na kutaschan abhibhyati swarga apavarga narkeshu api tulyarth darshina. Devotees of the Lord, they are not fearful of any situation. Either they are in heaven or in hell. They are always remembering Krishna. Priyavrat Maharaj was that type of devotee. So Priyavrat Maharaj, he married Varishmati, and second wife, two wives he married. From Varishmati, he had 10 sons, and these 10 sons, of these 10, 7 were very, very powerful Kshatriyas. Agnidra, Idmajavaha, Yagyabahu, Hiranyerata, Ghritaprishta, Medhatithi, and Vitihotra. These are the 7 very, very powerful Kshatriyas. And then there were 3 sons who entered Paramhamsa Ashram. Paramhamsa Ashram means they renounced the family affairs and they became sannyasis. They were Kavi, Mahavir, and Swashana. And then Priyavrat Maharaj had one daughter called Urjaswati. He married this daughter to Shukracharya. From that marriage, Devyani was born. We'll hear about the story of Devyani. It comes in the further cantos. And then from the second wife, he had 3 sons, Uttama, Raivata, and Tamasa. They became the Manus of the third, fourth, and fifth Manvantara. So these are the whole descendants. And then after that, Shukdeva Goswami describes the rule and the wonderful activities of Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit Maharaj, he ruled for 11 Arbuda. What is a Arbuda? One Arbuda means 10 crore years. So Priyavrat Maharaj ruled this entire Bhumandala for 11 Arbudas, 1110 crore years. And he conquered all his enemies. Just he was so very powerful. When he would go with a bow and arrow, just by the twang of his bow, he would conquer everybody. Everybody would surrender. And this is the rule. Then Shukdev Goswami describes that he enjoyed with his wife Barhishmati for a long time by her feminine behavior of dressing herself, walking, smiling, and glancing. She was completely captivating the mind of Priyavrat. And therefore it appeared that Priyavrat, he was completely lost in the feminine conduct of his wife. But actually it was not the case. He was a greatly liberated soul. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, it is a duty of a wife. Association of good wife is necessary in all the routine activities. And it is a duty for a Kshatriya wife to keep the husband encouraged so that the husband can carry out all the government duties very nicely. So then, Shukdev Goswami describes the wonderful activities of Priyavrat Maharaj. Priyavrat Maharaj, he was so very powerful. Once, what happened? He became dissatisfied with the movements of the sun. We'll discuss about our Bhumandala. So in Bhumandala, in the middle, there is a Mount Sumeru. So sun is revolving around this Sumeru on a mountain called Manasottar. So when the sun is on one side of this orbit, the sun can give its light only to a half of the Bhumandala. Other half remains dark. Priyavrat Maharaj was not happy with this. He expanded himself into two. One Priyavrat was ruling the Bhumandala. Other Priyavrat became the sun. And he would travel on the opposite side of the sun. If sun is traveling on this side, he would travel on this other side on his chariot to lit the other part of the Bhumandala. That was how he was powerful. He did not allow this other part to suffer. That was the mystic power of Priyavrata. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that because of this arrangement, in the month of Jeshta means the hot summer season, sun, which was made by Priyavrata, was cooler than the moon. In the cool months like Marg Shirsha, sun made by Priyavrata was warmer than the sun at dawn and dusk. And apart from that, this is just one thing. So as he was revolving around this Mount Meru, he, by his wheels of the chariot, he divided this whole Bhumandala into 7 islands and 7 oceans. He gave these islands to 7 of his sons. Parikshit Maharaj started thinking, how is this possible? How could Priyavrat Maharaj do all this? So Shukdev Goswami says, don't be astonished. Devotees' power is, unimaginable. Naivam vida purushakara urukramasya pumsam tadangri rajasa jitshad gunanam chitram vidura vigata sakritadadita yannamateya madhuna sajahati bandham. He says, the devotees of the Lord, they are so very surrendered to the Supreme Lord. They have taken shelter of the Lord. They can transcend all the influences of the material whips. Shad guna, they can conquer. Vijit shad gunanam. What are these shad guna? Hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, old age, and death. They can conquer even mind. They can conquer senses. So therefore, Chitram Vidur Vigata, it is not surprising for a devotee to perform all these unimaginable activities, because even an untouchable is immediately relieved of all the bondage just by chanting the names of the Lord. Yannamadheya adhuna sajhati bandham. That is the power of the name of the Lord. Even an untouchable can become liberated. Then what to speak of a great devotee of the Lord? So in this way, Priyavrat Maharaj, he did unimaginable thing. And then after ruling for a long 11 arbudas, he became repentant. He started thinking, I have enjoyed my family life. And then he started thinking to renounce this family life. He was thinking, meditating on the words of the Narada. And he thought, I should now surrender my remaining life. I should meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord, perfect my life. He started thinking, alas, I have fallen into this material engagement. You know, this material life is like a deep, dark well, andhakupa. Enough of this. No more of material enjoyment. I am dancing like a monkey. He says, I am like a dancing monkey in the hands of my wife. I don't want all this. I have to give up. Mukudmala Stotra, Kulakshikar Maharaj also says a similar verse. He says, Andasya me rita vivek mahadanasya chaurai prabho balivirindriya namadheyaha mohanda kupa kuhare vinipatitasya devesha dehi kripanasya karavalambam. He says, Andhasya me, I have become blinded. Why? Rita vivek, my discriminative power is lost. It is stolen. Mahadhana, it was my greatest treasure. It is lost. Who stole? Chaurai Prabho Balibir Indriyanam. My senses, they stole my discrimination. Result was what? Mohanda Kupa Kuhare Vinipati Tasya. I have fallen in this ocean of material existence. Devesh Dehi Kripanasya Karavalambam. He says, oh my Lord, I have taken your shelter now. Please protect me. So Priyavrat Maharaj is also thinking like this. So then, as he was thinking, he reawakened his determination to renounce. He divided his earth into all his 7 sons. He renounced his wife and kingdom as if they were dead body. Fully he was detached. He was detached as if they were a dead body, and he returned to the path of spiritual life which was taught by Narada. The same type of detachment was shown by Bharat Maharaj. Yo dustyajan dara sutan surid rajyam ridhi sprisha jaho yuvaiva malvat uttama shloka lalasa. He gave up his family, wife, children, whole kingdom, just like a person after passing stool does not even look at it. So that is described about Bharat Maharaj. So Priyavrat Maharaj gave up all this in such a way, and then Shukdev Goswami describes that Priyavrat Maharaj is glorified in very famous verses. Nobody but the Supreme Lord could do what Priyavrat Maharaj has done. Priyavrat Maharaj dissipated the darkness of the night. He excavated the 7 oceans with the rims of his chariot. Just by moving of his chariot, he created huge oceans. And in between this Bhumandala, he created boundaries of mountains and the forests so that no two neighboring countries they can invade. There is no quarrel. And then ultimately, considering all these karmic activities to be hellish, he gave up all that because he was a great follower of Narad Muni. This was the life of Priyavrat Maharaj. And then second chapter describes about the activities of Maharaj Agnidra. So Agnidra, he was the son of Priyavrat Maharaj. So Priyavrat Maharaj, before going to the forest, he gave up his kingdom to Agnidra. And Agnidra very beautifully obeyed the instructions of his father. He gave full protection to all the inhabitants of Jambudvipa as they were his own begotten sons. That is the glory of a ideal king. We heard the same discussion about Yudhishthir Maharaj also in the first canto. Apipala Dharma Raja Pitrivat Ranjayan Praja Nispriya Sarvakamebhyo Krishna Padanu Sevaya. So Yudhishthir Maharaj was also taking care of the citizens just like Pitrivat, just like father. So Agnidra was also ruling the kingdom very nicely, but he desired a son, and he wanted to become an inhabitant of Pitri Loka. So with this, once Maharaj Agnidra, he went to the forest and he was doing worshipping Brahmaji. He was worshipping Brahma to get a son and to get a place in Pitri Loka after this life. He went to a Mandar valley and then he was doing tapasya there. This Mandar valley was frequently visited by various celestial apsaras. Celestial denizens would come there to stroll and to have a good time there. Prabhupada writes, to go to this Pitri Loka, one needs a good son, or one needs to worship the Supreme Lord. That's why this Shraddha ceremony, all this is for, promoting the ancestors to the Pitri Loka. Somebody may ask, Maharaj Agnidra was a son of a Vaishnava. Why he was so much attracted to all these material pleasures, having a perfect son or going to Pitri Loka? Pitri Loka is a heavenly planet. Why Maharaj Agnidra, he was son of a great devotee, why he wanted to go to Pitri Loka? So, Shukdev Goswami, actually Sridhar Swami, he replies that Agnidra, he was born when Maharaj Priyavrata was very lusty. So because he was lusty, so it is very, very important, the impressions and the thoughts which the couple have at the time of union, when they are conceiving a child, that attracts a particular type of soul and that influences the consciousness of that soul. So Maharaj Priyavrata was very lusty when he begot this Agnidra. So Agnidra was also having materialistic mentality. So this Garbhadhan Sanskar which was described, it was a very, very scientific thing where a couple purifies their mind and purifies their consciousness before conceiving a child. So Agnidra was ruling the entire, he was ruling one of the 7 kingdoms, 7 islands. As Maharaj Priyavrata divided this whole Bhumandala into 7 islands, so Maharaj Priyavrata, Agnidra was ruling one of them. So when this Agnidra was doing this tapasya, Brahmaji, understanding the desire of Agnidra, he sent Purvachitti. Purvachitti was the best of the heavenly damsels. And Purvachitti, she came and she began strolling in the beautiful park where this Agnidra was doing tapasya. This park was very beautiful. It had, all the beautiful fragrant flowers and all the birds were creating very nice sound. Although Maharaj Agnidra, he was controlling all his senses, he was practicing yoga, but when he heard the tinkling of the ankle bells of Purvachitti, he opened his eyes little bit he opened his eyes, and with his half open eyes, he could see Purvachitti moving very gracefully. Prabhupada writes, to control the senses, one has to practice austerity, but even the greatest of the great yogis, they get distracted by sense gratification. But a devotee of the Lord, he does not get disturbed. And he quotes this very nice prayer by Prabodhanand Saraswati. Durdan tendriya kala sarpa patali protkhat damstrayate. For a devotee, the senses, they are like the serpents with broken teeth. They cannot harm a person. So a devotee who is completely focused in serving Krishna, the senses cannot distract him. We hear the story of Haridas Thakur. Even Maya Devi herself came. Krishne nama Vishtamana Sada Haridas Aranye Rodita Hoila Stri Bhava Prakash. Haridas Thakur is so very absorbed in Nama Vishta, in holy names, that uh, all this feminine beauty of Maya Devi was not having any effect. So this Purvachitti, when she was roaming in the vicinity, Agnidra, he became attracted. It is described that Purvachitti, she smelled like a beautiful, very, very fragrant flower. When she spoke, The fragrance of her breath was attracting honeybees, She was so very attractive. Honeybees were constantly roaming around just by attracting by the fragrance of the breath of Purochiti. And she was so very beautiful that she could make Cupid enter the minds of the humans. And Prabhupada writes a very strong purport how uh, a beauty of a woman attracts a man, and a person who wants to perform devotional service should be very, very careful in association with opposite gender and those who are materialists. Nishkinchanasya bhagavad bhajanonmukhasya param param jigimashor bhavasagarasya sandarshanam vishainam athayoshitam cha ha hanta hanta vishabhakshanatopya sadhu. This describes the devotee who wants to give up his material attachments and uh, engage in the devotional service of the Lord. He should be very, very careful of two things. Vishainam and Yoshitam, those who are sense gratifiers and opposite gender. So therefore now Agnidra, he started glorifying the beauty of Purvachitti. He says he's so very absorbed. Chakravarti Thakur writes that this Agnidra, from the childhood, he was, absorbed in austerity. But the conception of enjoyment was so very strong. He had never seen a woman in his life, it seems. So when he sees Purochitti, he starts addressing Purochitti by calling him as a sage. He says, "Oh, best of the sages, who are you? Why are you on this hill? And what do you want to do? Why are you carrying a bow? Whom do you want to kill?" He is referring to the eyebrows of Purochitti. He's saying, "Why are you carrying this bow? Whom do you want to kill?" Actually, he's saying that, are you hunting for some inattentive animal in the forest? Deeper meaning is that he himself is like an animal which she is hunting. And then he says that, you have two very powerful arrows. These are the glancing eyes. With those glancing eyes, you are loitering in the forest with these two arrows to shoot them to someone, but to whom I cannot understand. And then he says that, these bumblebees which are surrounding your mouth, they are like your disciples. They are offering prayers to you. And you are wearing those anklets. They are like the sounding of the birds. Titri birds seem to be chirping within your ankle bells. That's what he says. And therefore, he goes on to describe every bodily part of Purvachitti in such lusty ways. And then he ultimately, proposes. He says, "I will not leave you. You have been given to me by Brahmaji. My mind and my eyes cannot leave you. Please take me also wherever you like. And then, we'll have a good time together." So Agnidra, he was such a very expert flatterer. He knew the art of how to attract and satisfy and attract women. So he gained the favor of Purochiti. They both enjoyed for 100 million years. And then they enjoyed in both worldly and heavenly pleasures. In the womb of Purochiti, this Agnidra begot 9 sons. They were Nabhi, Kimpurusha, Harivarsha, Ilavarta, Ramyaka, Hiranmaya, Kuru, Bhadrashu, and Ketumal. So these 9 sons, they again became the rulers of, the various islands. And then after that, Purochitti, she left, and this Agnidra, he again, began to worship Brahma. So the and with a desire to attain Pitri Loka, because he was not still satisfied. Because Purochitti came from Pitri Loka, he wanted to go and again enjoy with her. So he started worshipping all these, Pitris. And then after that, it's described that these 9 sons, they were married to Meru Devi, Pratirupa, Ugra Damstri, Lata, Ramya, Shyama, Nari, Bhadra, and Devaviti. And they were the daughters of Meru. So this is the description of the family of Agnidra. So this is the end of the second chapter. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anybody has any questions? Ask. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.